All right, now for our featured story of the day. Max Keiser says Palestine could have bought Israel by now if they would have taken his advice back in 2013. So I'm going to show you all the receipts. We're going to be discussing this. We're also going to be discussing Bitcoin being confiscated recently. This is big news. Israel sent a letter to Binance, the world's largest global exchange, and they basically confiscated, allegedly, all the Bitcoin from the Palestinians. Allegedly, $3 billion worth. Allegedly. So let's dive into all of this because this is freaking wild. And who's to stop the U.S. government or something similar happening to us? That's why you don't want to ever keep your crypto on the exchanges, because you don't own it. If it's not properly self-custodied, other people can get access to it. I'm telling you. And we've been warning you. And Max especially has been warning us for a very long time. He says the Bitcoin ETF BTC can and will, in his opinion, get confiscated by the U.S. government in the name of national security. And now we just had another nation this happened to. So if it can happen to another nation like Palestine, it can happen here. It can happen anywhere. That's the bigger picture. So yeah, let's break all of this down. Let's start with this tweet that he shared off the back of the news, which broke on August 27, 2 days ago. Breaking: cryptocurrency exchange Binance has seized all Palestinian assets at Israel's request. So all they had to do is just roll with me. It's probably in Hebrew here, so obviously we can't translate that. But the heads, maybe the president of Israel, messages or sends an executive order equivalent to Binance CEO Richard Tong, whatever his name is, and then they say, oh, in the name of national security, we got to take everyone's Bitcoin from, if you live in Palestine's jurisdiction. That's what it sounds like. Now, Max retweeted and wrote, I wish Palestine had taken my advice in 2013. They could have bought Israel by now. Bitcoin has no riba. When I pitched this to some mullahs, they scoffed. And my apologies if I'm pronouncing any of this terminology wrong, because I'm obviously not from the Middle East. Should Palestine switch from the shekel to Bitcoin in their central bank, add Bitcoin to reserves, and here's the proof. Here's the receipt. I think this is probably an old article in which he must have published. Let's see what comes up. And this is on RT. And like anything else, it's probably already censored and taken down, as RT took down everything related from the Keiser report. So now that I think about it, it's not going to show up anymore. But he does show a receipt that he did say that, and it is documented that he did say that. And that was all the way back in 2013, 11 years ago, back when Bitcoin was in its infancy, still probably, I would speculate, maybe less than $100, maybe even less than $10. I'm not sure. So other recent tweets, and this was actually a prediction he made in 2022. And again, I got the receipts. February 13th, 2022, Max made some bold predictions. He wrote, number 1, Kamala becomes president. Number 2, Hillary becomes the VP. Number 3, Kamala moves to the Supreme Court. Number 4, Hillary becomes president. And number 5, Trump runs and wins in 2024. And I just point this out because he made this prediction over 2 years ago, respect to the high priest. He also recently made another bold prediction. My prediction for Bukele's second term: the country's wealth will be controlled by the Salvadoran people running their own Bitcoin nodes. The president will pitch them ideas and they will crowdfund what they like. The social contract will have been reinvented by Bukele. El Salvador will run on a circular Bitcoin standard. The country will have no debt. El Salvador will run 10% of the global Bitcoin hash rate using the geothermal volcano energy, which is his vision for his company, Volcano Energy. And no central bankers will have any power. The IMF will be long gone. I love that personally, and more power to, the high priest, Bukele, and the beautiful people of El Salvador, aka thy savior. So let's see what other tweets I have. This was another tweet he shared, and then we'll get into the story a little more of what's going on. This was shared back on January 8th. I quoted him, "You're not protected against government seizure, and the U.S. government plans to seize all Bitcoin ETF Bitcoin in the interest of national security." He's been preaching this for quite some time, and I've been echoing the sentiment. Number 1, government seizes the ETF for national security. Number 2, before they send you your US dollars. Number 3, price moves up. to $100,000. Number 4, you pay tax on the gain from the payout. And what's left, you buy Bitcoin at a price 100,000 higher. Number 5, price crashes. And number 6, you're now sitting on a net losing position from where you started. And this scenario can play out. Let me know if you agree or disagree. He also said, my understanding is that Trump, when he wins, is announcing a plan to do the sailor for the U.S. Treasury. And another reason I got to respect him and show these receipts, he's the first one who speculated and made the prediction that when Trump spoke in Nashville recently at the Bitcoin conference, the largest Bitcoin conference there is, that he would make some form of announcement adopting Bitcoin and doing the sailor put, as he calls it. And lo and behold, it was correct. And guess what? Lamestream media outlets like Forbes and Fox and CNBC, it took them weeks after he shared it and I started sharing it in the pod. The same day he made the prediction, I started covering it in the podcast. So what does that tell us? We beat the mainstream media by several weeks worth of time. But now let's get back to the situation at hand regarding Palestine and Israel, because this has kind of been under the radar, but it's really happening in real time right now. So let's discuss it a little further. Max Keiser expressed regret that Palestine did not heed his advice in 2013 to adopt the leading digital coin we know as Bitcoin as legal tender, amid reports that the crypto exchange Binance froze all accounts belonging to citizens of the Middle Eastern nation of Palestine. What happened? Keiser shared his views on X, which I just actually read to you, some of those posts, which was pretty cool. And he also said, I wish Palestine had taken my advice in 2013. They could have bought Israel by now. Keiser claimed that the country's Islamic clergy didn't take him seriously when he told them that Bitcoin had no riba, the Arabic term for interest that is forbidden under Islamic law. And we even had this is named the Patwa, but one of the heads of the Islamic circle come out and accept Bitcoin and believe that it did. It was, what's the term? I don't want to misquote it, but ultimately that it's viable for Muslims, Bitcoin, and that it's not a bad thing like some originally perceived it as. And again, here's the receipts. I already shared with you the actual post and the original, sharing that Binance seized all the Palestinian assets at Israel's request, which to me is mind-boggling, and that's why you got to take your crypto off the exchanges. Now, Keiser referenced his opt piece on Russia Today from August 2013, which we try to pull up, but like I said, I think they pulled down everything that he created on RT's publication. But this is an original quote. Money can be sent in and out of Palestine completely unmolested by the international bankers who have conspired with Israel to keep Palestinians behind Israel's apartheid wall. And that's, again, quoting the high priest. Why does this matter? Kaiser's remarks came in the wake of the allegations that Binance, the largest exchange in the world, seized the Palestinian crypto assets at the behest of Israel. Binance, however, refuted these claims, naturally, stating that only a small number of the accounts tied to illicit funding were restricted. That's according to the Binance CEO. Now, it's worth noting Binance had previously assisted Israel in the seizure of crypto accounts linked to Palestinian militant organization Hamas, which contradicts Keiser's aforementioned claims. So there you have it. Again, right now, this is all speculation, but word on the street is, Binance just seized all of, I heard $3 billion worth of cryptocurrency from Palestinians. The Binance CEO is denying it and saying only selected individuals, yada, yada, yada. Who really knows at the end of the day? But here's one thing that's for certain, in my honest view. If they can do it to Palestine, they can do it to the United States of America. No crypto is safe on the exchange. If the government wants it, they're going to take it, and only self-custodied Bitcoin is unconfiscatable. That's the only way your Bitcoin is unconfiscatable. If you have it in self-custody, anything on the exchange can be taken away from you. You understand that? I just want to be very clear. Okay, and my apologies if I'm referring to Palestine as a country or nation. I don't know. I was assuming, Greg. So he wrote, Palestine is not a country or a nation. They're basically a tribe. I assume they're a country. And I know at one point, Palestine was huge. And then Israel was formed. And then now Palestine is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert on this topic. That's just from what I've noticed. So correct me if I'm saying anything wrong. I'm no expert of the Middle East. FYI, I'm just reading the news. Okay?